a job. It's a job. Yeah.
And there's others that are more secure.
In high school, it's all bad. Middle school, same kids all the time.
Little angels with horns, buddy. Little angels with horns.
Mm-hmm.
Five, four, three. Good evening and welcome to the Defiance City Council meeting for tonight, June 3rd, 2025. Before we get underway, would you bow your heads in prayer with me? Dear Heavenly Father, we do come to you humbly this evening. We thank you for the beautiful weather that you give us, for the city that we get to enjoy and be part of. We do come to you and ask you for wisdom and for insight. Lord, for sensitive consciences about what is right and what is wise. We come to you and ask you for this because you are kind and you are wise, even when we are not. And we ask that you lead us in these ways so that we can glorify you and help people around us. Lord, please give us words to say that we build up each other, that we can disagree on subjects and yet encourage and love one another. Please be present with us this evening, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. This meeting is now called to order. Let the record show that all the members of council are present this evening. Would you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not only because of the nice weather, but it is a special evening because we have two great guests this evening. Tonight, first up, we have Lisa Weiner, Executive Director of the Fort Defiance Humane Society. Thank you for being our guest this evening.
Thanks for having me.
And you've come to discuss the upcoming TNR event?
They have. I think we are all set and ready to go for the end of the month. It's going to be June 23rd and 24th. We're doing something a little different this time around. We have great partnership with the Rascal Unit, who's done it for us for the last few years, and we'll be doing it again in the fall. But we're trying out a new resource. It's another mobile resource out of Fort Wayne. And they're doctors that we've worked with in the past. They used to actually work directly for Fort Wayne Humane Society. So they're coming out and in their mobile unit, they're going to do a 2-day program. So we're going to do less cats per day, but we don't have to stay overnight, which is great. So they're going to get them done early. We'll do the recovery later in the day. We don't have to do the whole overnight piece of it. And since they're fairly close, they're only, an hour away, it's easy for them to come back and forth. The big difference too is we're going to do it right at the shelter this year. So we're going to utilize some space in the barn just for the day of and caring for the animals during that day. But because we don't have to keep them overnight, we don't have to worry about trying to find a different location. Calls will start tomorrow. We're going to start taking calls to reserve traps. We're going to do a max of 3 traps per person so we can spread it around a little more. We're learning as we go. Each time we learn something new on these. And so instead of somebody coming in reserving 10 or 12 traps and bringing back only a couple that were full, we want to spread it around and let everybody participate. We will be passing out the reserve traps on Friday the 20th, so we've got a couple weeks to go. And then we're going to do surgery days that following Monday and Tuesday. We'll have drop off between 8 and 9 and pick up around 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we will have trap returns coming back to the shelter on the 25th. And so everything will be done at the shelter, and that will also help with any confusion of where people need to go and pick up and drop off and all of that. So we're going to give it a whirl, see what happens. Price-wise, this group is right in line with the rascal unit. So the cost per animal for spay, neuter, ear tipping, rabies, kind of the normal package is $110. We're going to, the goal is to do 50 cats. So we'll give out a few extra traps because we know some don't get filled, which is fine. But that is the goal, is to do 50 across those 2 days. So more manageable number. From our perspective, it's also a little easier because I'm not paying people to be off site all day. We can still, they're gonna really handle most of it themselves with their crew, and what we need to subsidize with, we have people there and they can be doing their own job as well, in the off minutes. So questions?
Mr. Corbett.
How are you gonna stagger the traps coming in? If you're doing it over 2 days and they don't stay overnight and you have 50 traps out, you obviously don't want 50 showing up on the first day.
When they pick up their traps, so we have it organized, we have them all labeled and tagged and all of that. We give out instructions then as well. So they know how to set the traps, they know when to set the traps. I don't want them setting them Friday and, for a Monday surgery. We're also going to assign them a day.
Okay.
So we're going to have that all in the instructions, and it'll be across a 2-day period instead.
So they know when the traps, so they don't have to feed them and do all that stuff.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, that's a great update. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome.
And
Fingers crossed, everything goes as planned.
And if people have questions or want to follow up with anything, they can contact.
Contact us at the shelter.
Got it.
Yep, just
Okay.
contact us directly. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And tonight we also have Erica Willitzer. You are the CIC Executive Director.
Well, good evening. Well, as far as I have a lot of updates. First, an update on my team. So I had Carly Carpenter, Paige Weshy. I think they both got married on the same weekend. And then fast forward, I think they both got pregnant on the same weekend because we both ended up having babies within a week of each other. And then Carly didn't come back. She came back after maternity leave like a week prior and said, I'm going to go a different direction. And then Paige is now going to do a different direction as well. She's going to be a stay-at-home mom for a week, for a year, but she is working for us until the end of June. And we have a hiring committee. We're in the process of interviewing folks. We've interviewed a lot of really great folks, and we do have an accepted offer, and we're excited about that. So so things have changed tremendously in our office team. I am grateful that Paige is going to stay on for the summer camp. I don't know if Mr. Hancock is going to be the bus driver. Probably after last year, traumatized.
No, it's a great time, and I had a good group of kids, and it was a lot of fun.
So she's going to stay on and do that. That's June 10th through the 12th, and so I'm very excited that she's going to stay on. And I know that if we run into some issues, she'd probably be able to do volunteers because she did a lot of great work while she was here. So there's the update with our team, and then the other update, which this isn't in city limits, but the city of Defiance and their team have worked on this just as much as I have. And that's the First Quality, the paper mill that's going outside of the city limits in Delaware Township and Defiance Township. So the update there is that just last week, we finally got the last rezoning process done that was approved by the trustees. So the next step, and there's a lot of them, they're going to wait a few weeks. They're getting more legal paperwork done. And then this is where the city of Defiance is going to come in. We're going to start the process of looking at different incentives, which we'll have to team up on to repay back that All Ohio Future Fund, the water and sewer that made this project possible. One of the things that we're looking at multiple things, is what's called, and you don't have to remember this because we'll probably be bringing this up again, is a JED, which stands for a Joint Economic Development District. And that's where it's outside of city limits, but an income tax is imposed so that then we can take that income tax and redirect it to pay off the loan. But part of this is that you've got the township and you got the city, and the county commissioners are looking at it like, okay, we could take, and we've already talked with the mayor and his team about this with the commissioners, the bulk of that to go and pay down the debt of what the county commissioners are taking out. But then there's going to be portions that'll be negotiated that can be rediverted to the city, to the township for, fire, rescue, some of those other things that are necessary for a project like this. So that's down the road. I'm not sure on the timing of that because we're trying to get a few other things wrapped up, but that's going to be something that's going to be coming down the line. The other thing that's happening, and it's a good thing, is we had a lot of these smaller announcements, great projects that were announced, and then we have First Quality. We are now seeing a lot of calls regarding new retail, restaurants, housing developers that are now interested in Defiance. So that's very exciting. I can remember when I started almost 5 years ago, I would call and I'd never get return calls. And so it's being driven by a lot of the development, but more so so they come out and they scout Defiance. These developers, they come in and they try to check out. They're evaluating your downtowns, they're evaluating your parks. And when they see that it's a great place to live, on top of this new activity that's happening, that's making Defiance a very attractive place. So it all works together, and I think that we've been really, the last many years, things are really kind of coming to a head, which is very good news. The other thing I have some other projects I wanted to update you on. Any questions regarding First Quality? Okay. Metalex, which is the big project that was going to go in Enterprise Industrial Park, that's been delayed. They've had a lot of different setbacks that have happened. One major with the death of their owner. They own the ground. They still want to pursue a development there, but that has just been put off. Nothing's going to happen there in 2025. In fact, I think they're probably going to maybe potentially farm it. So when I have plans or I have a clear timeline on that, I will make sure that that's communicated to City Defiance. If you've been back to Enterprise Industrial Park, Sandridge Color, they've got their expansion underway. They got a new, it's a new line. They got a contract to produce a lot of black ink black pink. I don't know what they call it. The resin? I'm not sure I think it's a resin.
Pigment. Yeah.
Yes. So they got a really nice contract that they're doing that and building that expansion. I went by there. It's like Bob Spiker's putting it up very quickly. Decked, they actually wrapped up their expansion. And that, I know I told this a while back, but that's 70 new positions that they're adding there. And they're even doing future planning on top of that, that growth. So that's very exciting for Decked. And then here in the next month, Titan Mechanical is a new company that is coming to Defiance. They purchased 850 Carpenter, which is right across from Johns Manville. And their story is really a neat one. Their owner came here because of Tissenderlo Curley. Then he started doing work at Decked. Then he started doing work at Johns Manville. Now he's starting to do some work in Williams County. And he was looking at between locating in Fort Wayne or Defiance. And he's like, I like Defiance. I want a site in Defiance. So he has created another location where he is putting together a fabrication shop for industrial piping. So that's very exciting. It'll be 20 new high-paying positions. And again, they have applied for a job creation incentive, and that'll be presented to the council once we have the committee review and look at that. But I did get that application, and I want to say it was late last week. Another update on Tissenderlo Curley. They're going to be having their ribbon cutting. They are now They moved their contractors out, and they're looking at August 21st to do their ribbon cutting. And Mayor, I think you were asked to speak or something, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. You'll probably you'll probably be put on the spot to speak, I'm assuming. So those are some of the different things that have happened. On top of that, we've got our summer camps. We're always taking in new requests, meeting with companies that are looking to expand, or potentially not even expansions, just retainment, or if they have, just different issues that they're like, hey, we're running into this issue. Like, for example, we've had some companies that are, they'll reach out to us and say, hey, we need a better strategy with our supply chain. Can you help us? I can't help them with that, but I know people that can. So I put them in touch with them, and then they help them coordinate a game plan there. So anytime that you're out and you run into different businesses, small or large, and they need assistance, we have a lot of programs. And if we don't have a program that fits them, we do have a lot of people that know a lot more than I do that can assist them, and I can put them in touch there. On top of that, we just wrapped up a video that highlights the county, and the mayor did a really good job on that video. If you haven't seen it, it's on our website. It's right on the main page. It's also on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So I would encourage you just to watch that. It has all the mayors and the commissioners in that video, just talking about just the recent highlights and different things that we have in our community that are amazing assets. So I think that's something that I'd like for you guys to be aware of. So that is the quick update. I really feel like things are going extremely well. I would say the market, Defiance County is strong. Our unemployment numbers are up a bit, but what I've been seeing in our visits to different businesses is they're retaining and not doing massive layoffs. So that's good. Probably should knock on wood there. But they're still recruiting some top talent. And I'm also seeing where people that have moved away, they call our office and say, hey, if an engineering position with, in this track comes open in Defiance, can you call me because I want to come back home to be closer to my family? Or if there's an HR position, I'd like to come back. So we're seeing a lot of that, and I think that's a real positive sign.
Mr. Hancock.
Erica, in you're looking at retention, have you seen more skilled trades or skilled positions, or are you looking at general labor? Can you notice a difference or not?
No, not really. I would say that almost all of them are going more to, there's a few companies that just have general labor, but for the most part, the people that we visit, there is a skill that, and there's been, I would say from 5 years ago to now, I think our educational institutions have really stepped up and to help, get those gaps filled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Rusty.
In talking to some of these prospects, what comments do they give you in regards to the housing that they see if they're driving around, the potential in Defiance?
So if you're talking like this, the different developers for that are housing developers specifically, so it varies. So we've had a lot of developers that don't necessarily want to build in areas by neighborhoods that are older. But then, and that I would say that there's a large portion of those. But then you have some that are like, I'm working with a developer now, and that's where his bread and butter is. He likes working, like building next to older homes, because then what happens is that some of those older neighborhoods see new homes coming in. It gets them going, and the momentum of like fixing up their houses. I would say it's changed too. Like I always thought that developers didn't want to be close to like rail. Sometimes they've mentioned to me, well, that's not an issue. And I'm like, okay, wow. I thought that was always a roadblock. So I think it really comes down to, and the mayor has harped on this in the past, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, is it does come down to having willing landowners wanting to develop their land. And if you have that, then it makes it a whole lot easier to get a developer to buy in on the housing development front. I don't know if there's anything else that you've seen that they're kind of attracted to. They like being by the retail centers too, or not far from
There's
them.
a fair amount of residential development in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Eric is right. The availability of land close in is not real great. And to develop residentially 2-3 miles outside of Defiance and take water and sewer to that development would be quite costly. Taking water and sewer out to the mega site for First Quality's $15 million project. You start spending that kind of money to get water to a residential area, and you're gonna have to sell the houses for $750,000 just to, and that's probably low, it's pretty rusty. So we'll just have to see, about the time we don't think there's any land available, then somebody's situation changes or the money's right, and then you see that happen. I would add that on Metalex, they have their new management team in place now. So they're starting to get into that operation and just what they want their next moves to be. So I thought Mr. Halberg's article in the newspaper was very well written, that it's on hold for right now, but the prospects are still good that something will happen out there, and we still feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole Titan is a
Tech mechanical, yeah.
is a great story. The first time I was at an event you had, and they were there, and they had their shirts on, I thought, I wonder why the tire company from Brian's here. And then when I finally got an opportunity to introduce myself to them, I realized it was them. But also decked, and that was really one of the first economic development projects that I worked on when Commissioner Tom Keim called me and said, let's buy some ground and let's do a spec building. And that joint between the city and the county, and look what's happened with it. It's just unbelievable. So that's quite rewarding. And if you have not, we really ought to try and get these folks into DECT, because it's an impressive operation. It's cool.
I've had, I think, the commissioners, I think a couple of the other mayors have mentioned, and maybe we just do this. I know that everybody's schedules are busy, but maybe we just like quarterly say, okay, we're going to have a tour day, and we just set up tours. And because, we took 85 of Ayersville's teachers, their staff, through a bunch of different manufacturing facilities. And when they got done, they were like, wow, we knew that they were there, but we had no idea like this kind of stuff they were working on. And then they started thinking like, okay, well, we've got this kid that would fit there. And then they collected their phone numbers and they started relationships with some of the executives there, so that if something came up with a kid, they could connect them. So I do think that could be something that we work on in the future, because it's really neat.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Willitzer?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for the update.
Yep.
I reviewed the index minutes for the council meeting of May 13th of this year. Do we have a motion to amend or correct the minutes as they're presented? Without any such motion, I'll endorse them. Do we have any liaison meeting requests or reports? And do we have any comments from council this evening? None. All right, we'll move on to the Board of Control. Mayor McCann.
Don't have much myself, Mr. President, but I will mention that first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to swear in Captain Brandon Case and Lieutenant Roy Perez as two men that are being elevated into our fire division. And It's kind of interesting, Mr. Mack telling the story about Brandon this morning that, was it last Friday? When did we train lifeguards?
Oh, that was Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
Monday morning.
Yeah.
Brandon was the first one in the pool at Kingsbury training our lifeguards.
True leadership.
Yeah.
Pretty chilly, was it?
Pretty chilly. Yep, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Mr. Mack.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First off, I would like to make council aware that the Development and Visitors Bureau is having a fireworks fundraiser on Friday, June 13th. You can stop in at the DDVB office to pick up tickets. They'll be selling pulled pork sandwiches from Jacob's Meats. The pickup for it will be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and tickets are $10 a piece. Go out and get a ticket from them. This helps fund our fireworks celebration. And I figured if I was updating you that was happening, I could update you on fireworks. So the Defiance fireworks celebration this year will be Thursday, July 3rd, 4 p.m. to dusk. Kingsbury Park, Pontiac Park, and the foregrounds, just like normal. We'll have light up toys, mini golf games, inflatables, food vendors, face painting, and Justin the Clown. If anyone saw from years past, Justin the Clown normally has a line that can be up to an hour long if you have little kids. So get there fast and get in line for the clown. Those are my updates for events. I did tell council that I would come back to you this week with some construction project updates. So I wanted to touch on a few of those. Our sewer line projects on Greenhouse and Pleasant are wrapping up. We just have some final trench work and area restoration for the greenhouse side of the project, but things have gone very well. New sewer lines in the ground. The project at Veterans Memorial Park at Laddie's Grove is starting. If you've driven past it recently, there's some fencing going up along the railroad track area. If you remember correctly, we're going to get some new pads, new shelter houses, and then some new sidewalks going through there. So the pads for the shelter houses should be done in a month or so, and then the contractor will have up until September to get those sidewalks completed. Word Construction will be starting our various streets paving contract probably in the next 2 weeks. According to our engineer, we think they'll be starting over on the Edgewood area. Gherkin will be starting on the repaving of Elliott and Cleveland Avenue, roughly about the same timeline in the next 2 weeks or so. Our in-house water line replacement on Hopkins Street is going well. They're close to halfway finished already. You've seen our guys out there working hard, getting a water line in the ground. You may have also seen our streets crews out replacing the ADA curb ramps in the downtown this week. They've been out hard at work there. If you notice, there's one that's been bothering me for about a year now. I saw it at the last Root Fest, right across from the Development and Visitors Bureau office. One of those pads had come up several inches, and I just always worry about those trip hazards for people. So we're getting all of those ADA mats replaced, or all the ones that were sticking up. Our 281 waterline project replacement is still waiting final plans review, but we're hoping to have that out bid hopefully by the end of the month or so. And then Jefferson, as I'm sure you all have been waiting. Jefferson Street is ready to be put out for bid probably in the middle of this month. There were some delays with getting the final plans around. There were some communication issues, not between people, but between machines, between ODOT and our systems that we had. So it took them a little bit longer to get the design work done. So that will be going out for bid about mid-June. I know everybody's been waiting on it. Nobody wants that project to get finished more than us here at City Hall. So we will keep on it. And those are my updates, Mr. President.
That's a lot of good news. Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell.
I have nothing for you at this time.
And Ms. Sprague.
I do not have anything.
Okay. We do have 2 items of legislation for consideration. Would you like to read the caption of it first?
Yeah, go ahead. What I'm trying to.
Right.
Thank you.
For second reading, creating the Jefferson South Tax Increment Financing Incentive District, declaring improvements to the parcels within the incentive district to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation, requiring the owners of those parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of those service payments, specifying the public infrastructure improvements that benefit or serve parcels in the incentive district, and providing for immediate effect. Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. President. You just heard the CIC Executive Director mention some new housing developments in the works. This is one of those more obvious ones, given that there's been some activity out there. The owner is constructing 90 new homes at 0 Rosewood Avenue. We're asking council, first of all, to declare the increased in the assessed values of these 3 parcels to be for a public purpose. And then we're asking them to approve the exemption of 75% of the improvements to the parcels from taxation for a period of 10 years. That would enable the city to set aside a TIF fund. We do anticipate this new housing density will also create new demand for city parks and amenities and infrastructure. With council's indulgence, we would ask that you consider letting this matter lay for yet another meeting. That's so we can meet the full 30 days from when we had the public hearing for the property owner early last month.
Mr. Corbett.
Motion to let lie.
We have a motion to let lie.
Second.
Second, Mr. Engel. All in favor of letting this issue lie until we reconvene next time, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we will let this issue lie.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the property acquisition of a part of a parcel numbers 16 and 18 of the Wooded Acres Estate from the Ralston Avenue Roundabout Project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mack.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the first set of property acquisition requests as we move forward towards the Ralston Avenue Roundabout and Pedestrian Project. This ordinance allows the city to acquire necessary portions of parcel numbers 16 and 18 along Ralston Avenue for constructing the project. Part of parcel number 16 will become part of the right-of-way. The other property interests are temporary easements for ingress and egress during that construction period. I believe in your packets there should have been maps showing what was coming up. We have it up there. That would be 16, and then there should be another one that is parcel 18. There you go.
Mr. Hancock.
And where's Deal Park? Here. Is it top right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. I pointed up like you would. Top right.
North.
Let's not north.
Any other questions that we have for Mr. Mack? Mr. Corbett.
No further questions, motion suspended.
Second, motion to suspend and call Mr. Corbett. Second, Mr. Mast.
Mr. Rusty,
Yes.
Mr. Math,
Yes.
Mr. Waxler,
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch. Yes. Mr. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Corbett,
Yes.
and Mr. Hancock.
Yes.
Motion done.
Motion to adopt Mr. Engel. Second, Mr. Mast.
Mr. Math,
Yes.
Mr. Waxler,
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch.
Yes.
Mr. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Corbett,
Yes.
Mr. Hancock,
Yes.
and Mr. Rusty.
Yes.
With that, this ordinance is adopted. With the items of legislation addressed for this evening, did any of the members of council come with any citizens' concerns that they wanted to share? Without any, do we have a motion to adjourn for this evening?
So moved.
So moved, Mr. Mass. Second, Mrs. Crutch. All those in favor of adjourning for this evening and reconvening next Tuesday, the 10th, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we are adjourned.